Yeah, when a team beats you, when a team has a lot of experience in the coaching, you take very little for granted, and then you also dig deeper. And your question is two-pronged. The first part is what do I make of the club, of their ability to maintain the consistency. And I would say to you that apart from a lot of other factors, and a lot of other factors means quality development with exceptional youth coaches like Kopo, who was there, and no, he's not there anymore. Coach Godfrey, who I have enormous respect for, because I was a youth coach and I interacted with these people. Even while Caetano was there, I always had very, very good relations with the SuperSport coaches, because we would meet in a lot of the youth tournaments and we would compete in that space. And so the youth system that SuperSport have got with regards to developing talent, scouting and putting together a pool that has so much potential with getting to elite levels, representing the junior national teams, that has a lot to do with the youth system that they've set up. That includes the SuperSport schools that you find predominantly throughout the province, throughout the country, and for me, I think that's one of those. And then, of course, the competence of the coaches and the staff that is there within the youth system. Then, of course, always, in my opinion, always recruiting the best coaches for the way the club is set up, and supporting the best coaches. And you can go as far as Caetano himself, Stuart Baxter, you can go as far as Kevin Johnson and the support that he got even in difficult moments. You can go as far as Gavin Hunt in the two stints, and you can go as far as certain Pizzo Mosilana. And it's a club that has shown that they believe in the coach that they hire, and they do a lot of extensive research about the personality that they want and the person that they want to be in charge. And they support that, and that's compliments to the board and the structure that they have, for sure. But I want to also maybe in a moment give huge appraisal and a lot of credit to a certain Stan Matthews. The guy is the epitome or the epicenter, rather, that's the word. He's the epicenter of SuperSport success. Extremely intelligent man who I've had an honor to meet a couple of times and have coffee with a couple of times, exchange football ideas with a couple of times. He's taught me a lot with regards to how football in South Africa works, how football in the rest of the world works, because he's traveled, he's worked with a lot of very, very good coaches. He has extensive experience with regards to making sure that the team is always in the top 8. A wily character that works very, very hard in the transfer market to try and get the best talent at very, very good transfer means with regards to what they can and cannot afford. And so I think not a lot is said, because of course, yeah, and I agree that the game of football belongs to the players, but if maybe we were at a club like Manchester United, and you easily speak about Sir Alex Ferguson, in my opinion, SuperSport United, you could easily knight Stan Matthews and knight him as a Sir Stan Matthews. The centre backs, yes, I've gone into a bit of research. They both were out with concussions. The game I started and have not finished, and you will excuse me for that, is the Cape Town City game. I saw Ditokwe go and get a collision with Darren Keat, and I saw him and the paramedics, the doctors, the medical team touch a bit of the shoulder and the neck. It did look initially like a concussion, which is something similar that Tyson has. And with concussions, it's very delicate. The longest period that Tyson, I went into the history books too and did a bit of work, The longest period Tyson was out was 36 days at Loftus Versfeld. I think it was 2017, 2018, if I'm not mistaken, when he was out with the concussion. So I'm not so sure whether this is as severe as that. And I'm not so sure whether they will be out. But in the last 2 games, they've had very good performances from the 2 centre-backs that have stood in Sian Trapo, is very, very experienced. He's a Bafana international. And Luke Fleurs, who, I mean, junior international, comes from the academy, extremely consistent performer, very dominant in the air, comfortable on the ball. And so whether or not Tyson and De Klok are out, the only difference is that with De Klok you get a left foot, and then with Luke Fleurs you get a right foot. But for sure, the possibilities of still being very aggressive, very competitive with the centre-back pairing, regardless of who plays, still means that it's going to be very, very difficult to breach the defense, because even though the centre-back is a little bit, they've got QET who they've recruited now for a short period, but they are very stable with the double pivot that sits in front of the defensive line with Ndlovu and Grant Magamano. Although Grant is not going to be playing, but Jesse Don normally goes there, or maybe if one of the centre backs comes up, they do what they did against us, and maybe Sian Trapo can even move to right back, or maybe even central midfield. And so it's a team that's, regardless of personnel, will be very, very difficult to find any form of penetration, particularly in the central corridor.